Today we're going to do the pressurized water bumper install. You've probably seen this on my other orange Jeep, the videos I did of that, where we basically use a stock bumper. We're going to drill some holes in it, plug up the drain holes, and this can hold a little over 7 gallons of water. And then we're going to do a panel here. My other video just showed it complete, so I decided to show you guys step by step how I do it, so you guys can do it yourself. We're only going to do the water today. We'll save the air system for another day. Yeah, let's get started. Alright guys, first thing you gotta do, we gotta take the bumper off. I guess you don't have to if you don't really want to, but I do it because when I do the pickup lines for it, I do it in between the fender here and down here. If you guys have aftermarket fenders, you might want to come up with a different place to put a pickup line. I just like this because it hides it, you don't see it. But there's going to be 6 bolts. It's going to be 5/8 inch bolts in there. We're going to pull those out and pull the bumper out, and I'll show you guys how the bolts don't actually thread inside the bumper. It's like threads into an insert that the bumper's molded around. So there's no actually exposed metal inside the bumper. Alright guys, there's going to be a total of 6 bolts to get the bumper off. There's going to be 2 here, up here on either side in this bracket. We're going to take these 2 off here. Same on the other side, and there's going to be another one hidden up in here, right behind the exhaust, and also on the other side in the same spot. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those off, and then, yeah. Alright, now we'll go ahead and pull the bumper off. Got the 6 bolts out. Stock bumper just going to slide off. Now, turn it upside down. We're going to have 4 drain holes. Do 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. So we need to go ahead and plug those drain holes up. I use some stainless steel bolts with some Teflon tape on there. And we'll just put those in real quick, plug them up, flip it over, and then drill in the fill hole. Just pick whatever bolt will be a little bit bigger than the hole, and then you don't have to over tighten them, you just basically want it so water will not escape. But since we're putting these in, if you ever did want to drain the water completely without using the pump, you could pull these out and drain the water. This is how the bumper sits stock. I just threw it back on here. I put my fill hole here. You guys can put wherever you want. But I put it here, so I'm just going to put it back on the Jeep real quick just to mark where I'm going to drill. Like that. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the pickup line inside the fender. So, honestly, right there. We'll be fine. Or you guys can use a hole saw or whatever you want. I'm using a 4-center bit to drill out this hole. And then I was using a rubber stopper in this one, and I can just plug it right up. Again, this doesn't have to be watertight because it's on the top. This is just how you're filling the water up. I'm going to use this rigid tube here for the pickup line. That way it's always at the bottom of the bumper. And I use a little smaller 4-center bit for this. And that way this will be able to go down like so. And then we'll seal it up. We're going to go ahead and fill up the bumper to test it here. Like I said, it can hold about a little over 7 gallons. So we're just going to put water in this just to check. I'll make sure it's not leaking anywhere. Even if it's leaking a little bit, it's not the worst thing in the world. But I've kept water in these things for months on end and never had leaks on my last one. Sometimes it starts smelling a little weird after you leave it in there for a while. But to clean it out, what I'll do is I'll hook up a hose on one side, put a little bit of bleach in there, and then turn the pump on and let it just cycle. And that cleans it pretty well. Again, would not drink any of the water out of this bumper, but it's great for cleaning off, washing off your clothes. If you go diving, I like to just, fresh water shower, or cleaning, and there we go. Alright guys, I'm just going to kind of show you what the process is here. It says put one of the lines into the pump, or sorry, into the bumper. It goes into the pump and then out of the pump to a nozzle. This is just kind of to test it all up before we start cutting on the Jeep. I'm going to quick give it some power. And the way the pump works, it turns on and off based on how much pressure is in this line. What's good about that, I'll show you here. Obviously the pump's running by itself, like just plugging. There's no switch, it's right to the battery. But if you turn it off, the pump turns itself off because now the pressure in this line is, it's 40 feet. On this one, 45 psi. So it will only run when you open up the nozzle, the faucet. Watch. It's running, off, running, off. And then you can also do either all on, or if you want to do pressure, I mean, pressurized running water on your Jeep. So what we're going to go ahead and do is put the bumper back onto the Jeep, then we'll start mounting the pump. Alright, so here's the pump. It's going to mount here on the underside of the Jeep, just above the axle. That's where I mount it at. You guys can mount it any place you'd like. Some people I have seen put them in here. What's good about this, it does kind of keep it more waterproof. This is made to get wet and stuff, the pump, and it won't go bad. But that being said, I don't know how it's going to do going completely submerged. If some of you guys driving it completely underwater, I don't normally do that. So you can mount it wherever you want. That's not really the point. But what I'm going to do is mount it from the underneath, and we're going to drill up from the underneath, put the bolts through here, and then mount this. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. Put the pump right about here. It's out of the way. It won't get hit by anything because it's so high. Also, it's not taking up room on the inside of the Jeep as well. So to get this mounted, what we're going to do is we're going to put kind of big bolts from the top of from the inside of the Jeep down. But to start, I'm going to do one drill hole while holding it here, and then drill from the top down using that hole as a guide. Two, while holding the pump here. Actually, I'm probably move it right about there. Give me a little bit of playroom. I'm going to put this drill bit right there. Alright, now, let's get a mark it for me. As you can see, and we're going to go ahead and drill it all the way through. It kind of sucks at an angle, but it should work. This is on hammer. Alright, so we're going to use that hole there as a guide from the top. So now let's go up top. This is what the pump's going to look like, but just flipped upside down. I'm just using this as a guide so I can drill my holes and it'll line up properly. So kind of mark it real quick. Now we got the 4 holes and drill all the way through. Like so. Alright, now we're going to run the bolts here with washers down these holes. This will take 2 people to do, guys. You want someone to hold these down while you're putting the screws through these rubber bushings from the underside. It's kind of a pain, but it works. So now we got the pump mounted. It's pretty solid. It's got those rubber grommets too, so it's made to like shake a little bit and it'll be fine. And here's your black and red negative and positive 12-volt wires. These are your 2 pickups. I added those brass fittings. This is your intake and your out. So this one is going to come from the pickup line and the bumper, and this one here is going to wrap around and go to the actual faucet on the side of the Jeep, the nozzle there. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and cut the hole in the side of the Jeep, get all that stuff going, and then work it all up. I choose to put my panel here on the side of the Jeep. It's just where I like it. This is a template I use to tell me where to make my cuts. And then right here, the CB antenna goes. I'm just going to kind of line up where I want it exactly. This is just laser cut acrylic that lines up with my other one. I'm just going to use this for doing, yeah, this is a 2015 Jeep. Got like 1,200 miles on it, and I'm drawing on the side of it with a Sharpie. This is the least of the worries. If you guys buy the plate from me, it'll come with a stencil like this so you know where to cut. Alright, that is where we're going to cut with this guy. I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves on, glasses on, and start chopping into my Jeep. Alright, this is what a lot of people don't have the cojones to do and don't want to in their brand new Jeep, but I say why not? So, time to start cutting up some sheet metal. Don't mess this up. So you guys can see some smoke coming out. Don't be alarmed. It's not a fire. And that, guys, is how you take out a piece of your Jeep. Time to go again. This one's for the air, and this will be for the water. So let's go. There we go. Now, guys, what we're going to do is get a Dremel out and then clean up these edges, and then we're going to hit it with a little bit of paint. You're not going to see any of this. It's just going to be to stop it from rusting. You can see I've cut up a few Jeeps. Here's I keep one from each one of the Jeeps I cut up. No, orange, yellow, and then my buddy's 2014 red Jeep we just did. So little trophies. Well, guys, and just clean up some of the edges. Just there's some of these stray metal shards and stuff like that, just to make it a little nicer. Maybe not. So I'm gonna I put some big tape on this, and then just gonna cut out what I want to take. This is just for when we spray paint it. That's just a little bit of paint, not too much. Perfect matching yellow. I knew it would be. Guys, here's a piece of 220 acrylic, black acrylic. That's what we're going to use to make the panel out of. This is a wonderful laser cutting machine. There's more video of this on my YouTube channel if you want to see this thing cutting. Pretty much we're going to put it in this machine, and it's going to cut out a perfect drawing of the side panel. Here's the file. We'll send it over to the laser, as you can see here. The laser takes a few seconds to warm up, and then it's going to cut this with a beam of light. Out our laser cutter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out a gasket out of some foam material here. Okay, here's the piece. There's a gasket we just cut. As you can see, it's perfect fit. The faucet, so you go there. And we also have the regulator, which I'd love to show you. Oh, here it is. The regulator, the gauge, and also the air plug in. So go ahead and countersink these holes, so the screws go in nice, and then we'll hook everything up. So we've got our pickup line here, holes cut here at the paint. So when this goes up in there, you're not going to even see the pickup line. So now we're going to run the hoses through and then under to the underside of the. Guys, we're going to run the hose to the pickup line inside the fender. It's going to wrap around and come out right here. and then run between the frame and the body straight to the pump. Kind of hard to see it from your angle, but you can basically see it. You look straight down and up. There you go. If you can see that's the line we need to make it to. And since it's between the frame and the body, that's gonna be nothing that'll pinch the hose. It'll always be that far away from each other. Again, guys, this might take 2 people. Trying because the hoses are usually like they're not straight because they've been wound up. But this will be kind of difficult, but it's worth making sure you get the plumbing right. Guys, I already went ahead and hooked the line up to the pickup line. And then this is going to be the line you can see here that runs to the pump. We'll hook up to the pump here in a second. And this is going to be the line for the faucet. So remember the best way to get this, if I remember right, I think you have to come up through the fender and then pull it around through the light. We'll give this a shot. Alright, so if you guys look through the back light, you can see the hose there. And you're going to want to put your hand through it and pull that through. Like this. Wrap it around. Bring it out the hole where the water's coming out of. Bingo. And we'll then run this the same way we ran the pickup line to the pump. It like wants to go inside that hole, doesn't it? The hole of the frame. Go ahead and bolt the bumper back down with those 6 bolts. Make sure when you run the hose, I'm using a braided line. That helps with the pressure. You want to use braided lines. Also on top of that, braid lines have a tendency to want to kink when you're turning them. Make sure you have no kinks when you run these. One here is going to the nozzle of the faucet. So, no reason to have extra, so kind of line it up where you think it'll be when you have enough, and don't make sure you give yourself enough room. Don't cut off too much, and go ahead and cut that off. The pump runs, if it's mounted this way, it's going to run towards the front. So this is input, and the other side's output. You got both lines hooked up now. What we're going to do is get 2 power lines here. We're going to go ahead and get power ran to the battery, but not plug it into the battery yet. Just because you don't want this running until you have your plate on the side of the Jeep all mounted and everything's up. So we'll do that, power it up after we get the plate mounted and check for leaks, and then we'll be done. Alright, this is the panel with everything mounted in, faucet and all your air. It's going to pretty much, we're going to put it in here and it's going to kind of like slide in and bolt in, then we're going to screw it down. Make sure you put your gasket on first, like so. That down there. And tighten your hose clamp. Alright guys, we got this hooked up. What we're going to do is we're going to put water in the bumper, turn the pump on, and see if we have any leaks before we bolt it all in. We're here. People might look at you weird thinking you're fill up your car with water. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and just plug in the terminal to the battery here, and then now you'll see the pump. Get self-prime, hopefully. That's just to get all the air bubbles out. Now we're going to shut it. It's going to turn off. Now you look for leaks. Looks like we got some back here. We have no leaks underneath in the pump, but this one, as you can see, we got a leak here. This things might not be tight enough, or maybe I didn't use enough Teflon tape. As you can see, when the pump kicks like that, it means it's definitely got a leak. I'm going to just try to tighten that and see if that fixes it. The answer is negative. And this will happen, guys. You just have to figure it out. What I'm going to do is take this off, and then this is where the plate's going to go. I'm going to drill the holes into the body, and then we're going to put this on the Jeep. So I'll go ahead and start drilling, and then we'll be good to go. Alright guys, so we got the plate on. Now we're just going to cut a couple vinyl stickers for it to indicate what's what, if it's not that obvious. And then also put the CB radio mount in right there once we're done. But right now it's running, power's to it, and pressurized running water. Jeep Wrangler. All right, guys, it's all done. We got the panel on the Jeep. We got the pump mounted underneath. There's no leaks right now that I can see. Things like to loosen up and settle after it sits for a little bit, so I have to check again for leaks tomorrow. As you can see, we put the decals on it for water and air. When air is hooked up, you'll have your air outlet here. This is a regulator to regulate what PSI you want to come out of this. And then water, and then you've got your CV antenna. Again, this will wire this up to the CV when I do the overhead console. But for now, water. Pressurized. I can wash my hands anyway because it's a little dirty. Pressurized water. The Jeep Wrangler JK.